take your coffee break with me. Come and take your coffee break with me. Come and take your coffee. Come and take your coffee. Come and take your coffee break with me.
So welcome to Coffee Break with Candace. Thank you for tuning in this week. I have another incredible guest, and I'm going to let her introduce herself and tell us about herself.
Thank you so much, Candace. Good morning. I hope your Thanksgiving was blessed. My name is Nkem DenChukwu, and I am here in Sugar Land, Texas. I'm trying not to say I'm too much, but anyway, I'm here in Sugar Land, Texas. I live with my family. I have 4 amazing teens. I write books for kids. I am a filmmaker. I love to cook. I love to take photos, especially of sunrise, sunset, and alligators. I'm just the person who has so much faith in God. I'm a very simple kind of girl. So
That's wonderful. So before we get knee deep into your interview, why alligators?
I'm scared, each time that I'm taking the shots of alligators, I'm actually afraid because they have teeth. They bite.
They do. There's evidence of it too. So I'm just
but it's amazing. I'm just fascinated by their skin design. I mean, not for purses and shoes and all that, it makes I appreciate just the handwork of God. It's just very amazing. Just have you really paid attention to the details of the body? It's just amazing. So my neighborhood, we have a man-made lake that flows into a natural habitat. So the alligators come from there. Yeah, they come in from there, and like right now it's getting cold. We're not going to be seeing much of them. And of course, spring and summertime, of course, they come out to soak up the sun. So by next spring, then you see more because of course, they have babies and stuff. And the bigger ones, eventually they, come to the neighborhood and move them out because now they've built up upper bodies and they become more dangerous, But I'm just fascinated, just how they look, and it just makes me appreciate the handwork of God. Really, that's the truth. But people always tell me, oh, one day it's going to bite you. I'm like, no. I'm very careful. I really do my best to take it from a far distance. So.
Good plan, but that is really cool that you have that interest. And then, did you take that photograph behind you?
The one up here?
Yes.
Oh yes, that's one of my old shots. Actually, in my neighborhood, I usually just drive to the lake, to the gate front, just sit there, just waiting for the sun to rise. It's just, I don't know. I always tell my parents, just have you ever really just taken time to just wait the sun to rise?
Sure.
Not rising or red, but just sit there and wait in anticipation. It's amazing. I feel connected, honestly, really, with God. It just allows you to feel his presence and just feel the magnificence. It's just amazing just watching it when you know that it's going to rise, and depending on the location where you are. So my neighborhood, it's the lake. So when it's rising, it's amazing how the sky that was just there, bland, just changes. It's like somebody's dropping like watercolors, into it. And you've seen the color, everything I don't know, it's amazing. I just sit there and but anyway, for this particular shot, I was sitting there just waiting for it to rise. And when it finally came up, I was just in awe. And each time is like, the first time. So, but basically when I see the sunrise, and I just say a prayer, really, and I'm just so thankful. So this woman with 2 dogs, she was passing, she went into my shot. I don't know who she is. She went into my shot and I took it.
Well, it's beautiful. Yeah, but it's beautiful. And it really is. And I will say that I have been to Hawaii on a couple of occasions and had the experience of, seeing the sunrise. And it really is beautiful and magnificent. And it does give you a sense of just the, like you said, you just see God in all of that. And it's so amazing. And so, yeah, so I understand what you're saying when you say that, and how great that you can experience that in your neighborhood, at the lake like that. I mean, that's beautiful.
Yes, well, actually, I've been to Hawaii twice, but when I went to Maui, the first time I was in Honolulu, but Maui, I didn't know about the mountain where you go like early in the morning. I don't know if you went there.
I did actually,
I
yes.
didn't know about it, so I didn't plan for it, and it was like $100 and something, so I didn't have the budget for it. But when I heard, oh God, I felt so bad. I was like, I wish I had known. I would have planned for it. You leave like around 4 in the morning, and by the time you get to that area, it's like you are one with the sun. I was like, that would have been an amazing experience. Like
It really.
I always ask for like hotel rooms the room that faces when the sun rises. I don't sleep when I travel. I'm just awake trying to looking for the sun,
Mm-hmm. No, but that's awesome. No, but I did that one. So it was really cool. So I had the bus picked me up at 3:45 in the morning, and then we went up the mountain. And they said, the temperature's going to change dress warmly. Mm-hmm. And I'm from I'm from Texas as well. I'm based out of Austin. I thought, well, that's not a big deal. It was so cold. Oh my gosh, it was so. Like, it was like, I think when we left the mainland or whatever in Maui, it was like 75, 78. And we got up there, it was so cold. Like, I think 30 in the 30s. It was ridiculous.
Wow.
Yeah, it was such a contrast in temperature. And I was like, you know what? They weren't lying. Because the driver had shorts on. I said, well, how cold can it be? He's got shorts on. But when he got up there, he had this whole big get up that he got in. Like, like a... looked like it looked like an insulated jumpsuit, but it was hilarious. I was like, oh my gosh, it was freezing.
37 degrees, wow.
But it was beautiful. So yeah, so
next time.
Yes. So definitely, yeah, but look what you have in your neighborhood. Like, that's so let me ask you, so you being a writer, how did you get started?
Well, I actually started writing when I was 10. But I'm from Nigeria. Back home, I wouldn't say that a lot of kids, but me personally, I wasn't really encouraged to, follow that path, that passion. But I was just a 10-year-old, always writing on notebooks while in school. I mean, some of my high school friends remind me, oh, each time you see somebody's notebook, you just pick and start writing something, coming up with words and stuff. So, but in 2012, when I couldn't get a job, I have a master's in healthcare administration. When I tell people that, some of them don't believe it. So, but I have a master's in healthcare administration and bachelor's in computer networking. But I couldn't get a job in the industry. It was so frustrating. And a friend of mine in LA, he's a family friend, Ike, he was like, you're always coming up with these words. You're always writing stuff. When you're sending text messages, like you're writing a book. Why don't you just write a book? And I was like, rather than just sitting and being frustrated or complaining about, sexual harassment in the industry or, just little things here and there about not getting a job, why don't you just put that time into writing, while still looking for work? And that's what I did. And I wrote my first book in 2012. It's called Tribal Echoes.
And what was that about?
It's actually a book inspired by the African culture, but especially my culture, the Igbo culture, especially my people, Nigerians. Basically, we come from home, Nigeria, and we come to America, or we go to Europe. Then we want to embrace their cultures, and there's nothing wrong with it. I mean, I've been here 26 years. There are certain things that I do differently, but the worst thing is to forget where you came from. That's the worst thing you can do to yourself, because when you forget or ignore where you come from or where you came from, Who are you?
So
You
good.
So the book, it has a collection of short stories inspired by my culture, Igbo culture, IGBO, Igbo culture. So, and a lot of Africans, I wouldn't say Nigerians, but a lot of Africans, they tend to embrace a culture that is not ours. For instance, um, like a lot of kids born here in America, Nigerian kids, for instance, you ask them, where are you from? I'm American. No, where are you from? I'm American. I was born in New York. I'm American. And are your parents? Oh, they're Nigerians. Oh, they're from Kenya. So you're from New York and your parents are from Kenya, from Nigeria, from Ghana. So, of course, being born in a different country doesn't make you who you are. Your bloodline actually determines your roots, where you are. So, my kids, they're all born in Texas, but they also know that as much as they are US citizens, they're Nigerians because both parents are Nigerians. So the book has, a collection of inspirational short stories, from teenagers 13 and up can read it. Very, very good stories, not because I wrote them, but very interesting stories that will actually make you think and be entertained in the process. And of course, learn some of the parts of the language.
So why do you think it's important to remember that?
I mean, it's necessary. Who are you if you don't know who you are? Think about that. Who are you if you don't know who you are? So it's not even just people that migrate. Even people back home. I have friends in Nigeria. They have kids born and raised in Nigeria. They don't speak the language because they feel when you speak or communicate in English that you are, part of the bourgeois. I don't know, really.
Sure.
They don't speak the language, and they were born and being raised in Nigeria. They don't speak the language, and they are so shocked when they hear me talking to my kids in Igbo. As much as my kids, they won't respond in the language, but they understand what I'm saying. But all these other kids born and being raised in Nigeria, maybe they travel, summertime, go to London or come to the US, and you're talking to them, they're looking at you like, what is she talking about? So I blame parents to an extent, but I now blame the kids when they get older and become like young adults because now they understand, they know better. So you can only blame the parents to an extent. But when you get older, then you're supposed to, that means you're old enough to know, what to do and what not to do. So it's very important that we teach our kids, our neighbors, about who we are. Again, who are you if you don't know who you are?
That's so good.
Yes.
So what happened after you wrote that first book? Was that when you decided to become a full-time author, or did you continue in healthcare administration? Tell us more about your journey.
No, actually, the healthcare industry in 2000 and let me see, I think 2011 or 10, I don't remember exactly. I was living in Cyprus at the time, and I was like, so dedicated to looking for work. My kids were babies then. My oldest is now 19, and I couldn't get any job. Even the ones that I was promised, ended up having some conditions attached to them. Either maybe you're overqualified. And I just said, you know what, let me just see what I can do that I have control over. And I started writing, doing some editing here and there. Just, sometimes, buy things and sell things and just to make ends meet. Mm-hmm. And since then I've been writing. Since 2012, I've written 12 books. This pandemic, I wrote 5.
Oh my goodness, that's amazing. Wow.
I'm trying to sell as much as Michelle Obama, but I'm trying.
No, that's great. So let me ask, was it hard to transition into writing?
No, I wouldn't say that it was hard because I love writing. I really, really love writing.
Oh, that's awesome.
It wasn't, it's it's just natural to me. So it wasn't hard. It wasn't really like a transition because it's something that I've been doing for a long time, just that I didn't really focus too much on it, you know. So sometimes I see like notebooks in the house or a piece of paper or sticky notes here and there where I like things that I wrote like maybe 2003, and I'm seeing things all over the place. I'm starting to collect all of them.
Mm.
So it's fun.
So how do you turn something you love doing that it sounds like is second nature to you into a career?
Well, for me, for the writing part, I mean, photography is another thing that I love to do, but I don't know how to work the cameras. All I know is just make sure that it's charged, fully charged, and have enough memory space and click, click, move. You know, I don't know how to like adjust lighting. You saw that experience this morning when we're trying to fix this. But for me, with writing, when I say writing, it's not just writing books. I also like ghost writing.
Oh, okay.
I ghost write and I edit. I do the editing. It doesn't have to be book editing. It can just be simple, like, 10 pages or 5 pages, little things like that. And sometimes I help to manage projects or set up a business, you know, and I get paid for that. So, I mean, whatever that you do, the bottom line is to do it well. It might not bring the income that you were, anticipating, but eventually something definitely will happen. I mean, I always use myself as an example. I've been writing and selling books since 2012. As much as that I haven't sold as much as that I would love to, I know eventually it will pay off. Definitely eventually will pay off, you know. So whatever you do, just do it with all your heart. Don't get discouraged. If maybe you have this marketing strategy that is not working, then find another one that might work and just keep pushing. Definitely one day you just something good will happen. I believe in that.
Yes, absolutely. And so you've written 5 books during the pandemic, which is incredible. Can you tell us more about those books?
Well, one of them is actually that one right there. Put me in your shoes. All the five.
Congratulations.
Thank you. All the 5 books there are picture books, for kids 7 to 13. But it doesn't mean a 6-year-old who loves to read and who can comprehend, or a 16-year-old who loves to read. It's not. I mean, I've had 19-year-olds and 21-year-olds that actually wrote some reviews on Amazon because they read the books. This particular book, Put Me in Your Shoes, is my first book on racism. Actually, I tell I has stories to shed light on racism. Different scenarios that a lot of people can actually relate to. And I mean, racism, when you really think about it, it's bullying, really. So some kids may not know what that word means or think that they've experienced it because they've experienced bullying and not racism. But when you really think about it, it's just that maybe when somebody is being bullied, if somebody is bullying you because of your skin color, isn't that racism? So it's just basically going to show kids the importance of oneness and kindness. And for you to be kind to another person, you have to be kind to yourself first. So it just basically just teaches kids how to be kind to other people and see the pain other people actually feel when you are not kind to them. So when you really think about it, you as an adult, when somebody tells you, put me in your shoes, or I wish I can understand what you're going through. If we really think that way, then it will be very difficult for us to hurt another person, to even hurt yourself. So it just also sheds light on xenophobia and on colorism. So that's the first one. Another one, the title is one of my favorites. It's called Be My Eyes. Be My Eyes. It's not released yet. It's been written, but the illustrations were finally completed a couple of weeks ago. It's a book about family and the importance of family. And having a family doesn't necessarily mean somebody who is blood related to you. You know,
True.
yeah. It's us. I mean, you've heard of here in America, they will tell you, oh, you're not black enough. I mean, they have that show Blackish and all that. Because you are mixed with another race, therefore, you're not black enough. So in this story, this a teenage girl, something happened to her, and her dad had to marry another wife eventually because she's mixed, half Nigerian and half French. The stepmom didn't see her as, that she's African enough. So having said that, this, when we experience unkindness or hatred, it affects our mental state a lot. I mean, this is a child. I mean, how do you want this child to actually feel or understand, why am I being treated this way just because, I mean, her father is Nigerian, that makes her African. Her mother is French, that makes her French. There's nothing wrong with that. So it's a story that I really love that the title. It was actually my 19-year-old. She was telling me about, I think, an organization where kids that are impaired, when they are struggling to, read, of course, then I don't know how that works. I think it's an app or something. You have to send like a request that you need help for somebody to read out to you a story or a message or your email. So basically, be my eyes to do this. That's what it is. So I took that. I mean, I just love, it just touched me. And I took that title and came up with this story. And I have another one called The Cow Without a Tail. It's on self-love. But the story came from the mindset of a cow, a cow that was born without a tail, of course, feeling incomplete, inadequate. I'm not like other cows and all that. But eventually in the story, this cow had to accept every part of her. Though she didn't have a tail, it didn't make her less of a cow. Because there were other things that she has or had that, make her to be a good cow, so that
I
she
love
didn't
that.
have,
Yeah.
so a lot of times we feel insecure or inadequate about ourselves, something about ourselves. I mean, we all do that.
So
I mean,
relatable. Absolutely.
exactly. So we all definitely have something that we're not comfortable about ourselves, regardless the persona that we all wear.
I know you're also you said a filmmaker. So how do you balance that? How do you go from writing to filmmaking? How did that occur in your life? And how are you making that work along with raising your 4 children?
I'm more into producing. I delved in 2012, I believe. An audition was going on. My editor at the time is also a filmmaker, and he told me about an audition they had coming up. I was like, okay, let me come check it out, and maybe you guys can hire me to cook for your cast and crew. To cook for your cast and crew. So I came to the audition, and it was very exciting, just watching these normal people become like other people. So it was very interesting, and I just started going through the screenplay and just reading the entire script. It was just very exciting, and I came on board as the production manager. From being a production manager, by the end of the production, I was one of the producers, and I think maybe about a year later, the director came and gave me a screenplay and said, read this. I read it before he came back to me. I already broke the script down and went into production. And since then, I've produced 13 films, I believe, including
Congratulations. That's awesome.
short films. Yes, ma'am. So I mean, like, if I go into production right now, I can guarantee you I'm not touching any books to write anything because my head is into the production completely because it takes up your time, your mental space completely. You know, when I'm in that production mode, I mean, my friend would say you don't see my brake lights. You know, it's in full because I mean, when you're on set sometimes 10 to 16 hours a day. By the time you get home, you're exhausted and you wake up, you're getting ready for the next shoot. And so basically, when I'm filming, I'm really not writing. It doesn't mean that I can't maybe attend to emails regarding my books and stuff like that. So it's exciting. Actually, some of my projects were postponed due to the pandemic. So, but I'm hoping that we pick things up very soon. So.
Well, we're gonna switch topics so that we're gonna go to my segment, Who Said That, where I will give you a quote, and if necessary, if you need it, I'll give you a clue, and you tell me who said that. And if you guess correctly, I will donate a modest amount to the charity of your choice.
Okay.
All right. And the quote is, "You must be the change you wish to see in the world. You must be the change you wish to see in the world."
Michelle Obama.
No.
Barack Obama.
No. So I'm gonna read a little bit about because because really technically you only get one guess.
Oh.
So which I didn't say that. So I'm gonna give you another chance, but I'm gonna read the clue about this particular person.
Okay.
And so he was an Indian lawyer, anti-colonial nationalist, and political ethicist who employed nonviolent resistance to lead the successful campaign for India's independence from British rule, and in turn inspired movements for civil rights and freedom across the world.
Martin Luther King?
No, Gandhi.
Okay. I feel I'm really bad with quotes and names. Oh, okay. Well, I learned something new today then.
Cool. Thank you so much for being on Coffee Break with Candace, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day.
I'm going to be reading a page from Put Me in Your Shoes from one of the stories, chapter 1. My dad immediately called the police. They were arrested for what my dad called vandalism. Eventually, they were released and were asked to pay for the damages. Oh, a restraining order was given to them to stay away from us and our property. My mother wanted us to move back to Chicago, but my dad explained to her and me how it matters not to allow other people's thoughts and actions decide how we should live our lives. If they don't like us because we are Africans, then they should move. I said to my mom and dad, I learned from our neighbors that we must not pay hate with hate, but with love and common sense. I am an African, born and raised in America. It doesn't make me better or lesser than you are. We are all equal. Thank you. I hope you read this book and let me know what you think.